Welcome students. I hope you are doing good. I am Akansha Vishnoi, your history teacher. In this presentation, I will explain you Lesson 1, Part 2. So let's begin. So my dear students, the topics which I am going to cover in this video includes Christianity in the Roman Empire, decline of the Roman Empire, Byzantine Empire, organization of the church, impact of Christian monasteries. So let's begin with the Christianity in the Roman Empire. After the death of Jesus, his teachings were spread by his follower Paul. Jesus' teachings became the basis of a new religion. Paul popularized the idea of Jesus as Christ, who had been specially sent by God to atone for the sins of humanity. This gave the new religion its name, Christianity. It appealed to the people, especially the poor and the downtrodden in the Roman society, because it involved the worship of only one God and promised salvation to all. With the due course of time, the Christian church developed as an institution. It functioned through places of worship for Christians called churches. It undertook services like healthcare, burial, and distribution of alms to the weak and the poor. This was unlike any other religious institution of those times. The next topic that I am going to cover is how it has become the official religion of Rome. The Roman emperors tolerated Christianity as yet another of the many religions that existed in their empire. However, there were times when Christians were given cruel and unjust treatment, especially as Christianity did not permit emperor worship. This happened, for example, during the reign of Marcus Aurelius and Diocletian. Christianity gained political support when the Roman Emperor Constantine I converted to Christianity around AD 313. Constantine attributed his political successes to his new religion. He also foresaw that Christianity would spiritually unite the Roman Empire. By the end of the 4th century, Christianity became the official religion of Rome. Constantine I, who ascended the throne in AD 306, was a very competent ruler. He made Byzantium his second capital, enlarged the city, and named it Constantinople. After Constantine's death, political turmoil and invasions by barbarian tribes from northern and eastern Europe weakened the Roman Empire. Now, let's discuss some points on decline of the Roman Empire. First, in AD 395, the Roman Empire was divided into two: the Western Roman Empire with its capital at Rome and the Eastern Roman Empire with its capital at Constantinople. In the long run, this weakened the Roman Empire as the two sides got involved in political disputes. Besides, the dearth of efficient rulers and decline in trade further weakened the Western Roman Empire. Second, by the middle of the 4th century AD, the far-flung Western Roman Empire came to share common boundaries with the Germanic tribes of Scandinavian, chiefly Swedish origin. Chief among these tribes were the Goths, Vandals, and Franks. Third, the barbarian tribes attacked large parts of the Western Roman Empire, which crumbled under these attacks. This ended the political unity of the Western Roman Empire and led to the rise of regional kingdoms. Fourth, the Western Roman Empire finally collapsed when the last Roman emperor, Romulus Augustus, was defeated by the Goths in AD 476. My dear students, let's discuss the Byzantine Empire. While the Western Roman Empire was overrun by the Germanic tribes, the Byzantine or the Eastern Roman Empire successfully resisted the onslaught of the Germanic tribes. It became a flourishing commercial center and saw the rise of important cities such as Antioch, Alexandria, Jerusalem and Constantinople, which had become a very important center of Christianity after Rome. When the Roman Empire split into two separate empires, the Eastern Roman Empire became known as the Byzantine Empire. During most of its existence, the empire was the most powerful economic, cultural and military force in Europe. By the end of the 5th century, the waves of barbarian invasions had broken up the Western Roman Empire into a number of small mutually warring kingdoms. There was a total breakdown of law and order. At this time, the Christian Church emerged as the only organized institution that protected and preserved moral values and promoted learning. Organization of the Church. The priests and the officials of the Christian Church were together known as the clergy. As you can see from the diagram, as Christianity gained converts in large numbers, the organization of the Christian Church became increasingly complex. Churches were headed by a bishop, below whom there were priests, followed by the lower clergy. In due course of time, the Bishop of Rome emerged as the most powerful official of the Christian Church. He came to be called the Pope, that is Father. The Pope became very powerful and exercised great religious and political authority. He could even force his will upon the kings of Europe. Another important feature of this chapter was the impact of Christian monasteries. Monasteries were built in remote areas, the most powerful forces that helped spread Christianity were missionaries. They both helped Christianity spread throughout Europe. Some Christians withdrew from worldly life and devoted all their time to spreading the message of Christianity. They led lives regulated by rigid rules and the rules of poverty, chastity, that is purity of character, and obedience. They were called monks, and the institutions in which they lived were called monasteries. Life in a monastery included prayer, manual work, and religious study. The monks set an example by doing manual work, and this promoted the idea of the dignity of labor. The monks were trained so well to look after the weak, the sick, and the poor. They also received education and preserved ancient knowledge by copying ancient manuscripts. For a long time after the fall of the Western Roman Empire, the monks were the only learned people in Western Europe. The Christian monasteries became centers of learning and for spreading education. Subjects such as logic, grammar, arithmetic, and religion were taught in the Latin language. This language served as a bond among the educated people of Western Europe. Christianity thus played an important role in culturally uniting Western Europe. There were renowned monks such as Saint Jerome, Saint Augustine, Saint Benedict, and Saint Francis who organized their own orders of monks. They won converts from all over Europe. Saint Jerome was the first to translate the Bible from Hebrew into Latin. His version, called the Vulgate Common Version, was the standard Latin Bible used throughout the medieval period. In the course of time, the Church began to play a central role in the lives of the people. It laid down rigid codes of social and moral behavior, which the people had to observe. These codes became increasingly rigid and the Church discouraged any form of questioning. Corruption also became widespread in monasteries as they acquired property. By the middle of the 16th century, many monks were living lives of luxury and becoming involved in all kinds of corrupt practices. The wandering monks who walked among the people, however, continued to lead simple and pure lives. With that, here I am concluding Chapter 1, Part 2, Rise and Spread of Christianity. Dear students, there is a mind map in front of your screen. This mind map is available in your book on page number 9. So this mind map will help you to understand the chapter well. As you can see, there are 4 branches which consist of early life, teachings, crucifixion, after Jesus. All these branches tells you more about how the chapter and what all are included in this chapter. I hope you must have understood the chapter well. If you have any doubts, please contact your concerned subject teacher. Thank you.